Welcome to the deep dive.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting. We got an email from a listener name, and they pointed us to this article about what we call a gravity hole.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was a pretty interesting analogy for some of the problems and challenges that marketers encounter.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think? What jumped out at you when you first saw this?
Well, I think that the listener friend's name who emailed this in really hit the nail on the head with this idea of a gravity hole and how it relates to marketing. Because, if you think about it, we often kind of have this plan or this expectation that things are going to go a certain way in our marketing campaigns or our businesses. And then suddenly something unexpected happens, right? It's like you're sailing along and all of a sudden you hit this dip, this unexpected challenge.
Yeah, and this gravity hole idea is really cool, but can you just break it down for us, like scientifically? What is this thing?
Yeah, so it's not a literal hole.
Right.
It's not like the ocean is draining out of this spot near Sri Lanka. What it is a variation in the Earth's gravitational field. So basically in that specific region.
Yeah.
The gravitational pull is slightly weaker than in surrounding areas, and that's why. The sea level is actually lower there by about 328 feet.
328 feet?
Yeah, it's pretty significant.
That's crazy. I mean, it's like a pretty tall building.
It is, yeah.
So it's a measurable, difference.
It's a measurable difference. And what's interesting is that these gravitational anomalies, they're not as rare as we might think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it kind of highlights this idea that even something as fundamental as gravity can have these variations, these unexpected dips.
So you're saying we kind of assume certain things are going to be constant.
Yes.
Like, okay, gravity's always going to be the same.
Right.
But in reality, there can be these
fluctuations, these anomalies. And I think that's a really powerful analogy for marketing because we might go into a campaign with certain assumptions about our target audience, about the platforms we're using, about the messaging that's going to resonate. And then we encounter these unexpected challenges, these gravity holes that kind of throw us off course.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time, with the these social media platforms. Like a change in the algorithm can just totally tank your engagement.
Exactly.
And you're just like, what happened?
Yeah, and it can be really frustrating because you feel like you're doing all the right things, you're following best practices, you're creating great content, but then something outside of your control shifts, and suddenly you're in this dip, you're in this gravity hole.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this. I was running this ad campaign a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And I was so sure it was going to be a hit. I did all the research. I targeted the right audience. I had a great design, but it just totally flopped. And I was like, what happened?
So what did you do?
Well, I had to kind of take a step back and really analyze the situation. I was in this gravity hole. I had to figure out, okay, what's causing this dip?
Yeah.
And it turned out that I had completely misjudged my audience's preferences like I was. I was focused on the wrong value proposition.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I had to, it's kind of scrap the whole thing, start over.
Yeah.
And really focus on what my audience actually wanted.
It's almost like you had to recalibrate your compass.
Right.
You thought you were heading in the right direction, but this gravity hole, this unexpected challenge, forced you to kind of reevaluate your course.
Yeah. And, it's tough to, admit when you're wrong.
So.
But, I think it's an important lesson for marketers to learn.
Absolutely.
You can't just be stubborn and stick to your original plan when things aren't working.
I think that's a really important point. We talk a lot about resilience in marketing, and I think this gravity hole analogy really highlights the importance of being flexible, of being able to adapt to these unexpected challenges.
So it's not just about bouncing back from setbacks. It's about being able to
adjust your course
in real time.
It's about being a navigator, constantly monitoring your surroundings, looking out for those potential dips, those gravity holes, and being ready to adjust your sales accordingly.
So what advice would you give to our listeners?
Yeah.
Who might be encountering their own marketing gravity holes right now?
Well, first of all, I would say don't panic. It's natural to feel a little bit lost or disoriented when you encounter an unexpected challenge. But the key is to stay calm and approach the situation with a sense of curiosity.
Okay, so don't panic.
Don't panic.
What's next?
Well, next, you need to analyze the situation. Really try to understand what's causing this dip. Is it a change in the market? Is it a shift in consumer behavior? Is it a problem with your own strategy?
So you got to identify the root cause.
You got to identify the root cause of the gravity hole. And then once you've done that, you can start to brainstorm solutions. And this is where that flexibility and that adaptability really come into play.
Yeah, because you might have to completely change course.
You might have to completely change course. You might have to experiment with new tactics, new messaging, new platforms. But the important thing is to be open to change and to not be afraid to try new things.
I think this has been a really insightful deep dive. It's not every day that we get to talk about gravity holes and marketing in the same breath.
I know it's a unique combination.
But I think it's a really powerful analogy that can help us all be more resilient and adaptable in our marketing efforts.
And I think the key takeaway here is that if even something as fundamental as gravity can have these unexpected variations, then we need to be prepared for anything in our marketing strategies.
So as we head into the new year, I'd encourage all of our listeners to keep an eye out for those marketing gravity holes. And remember that sometimes the biggest challenges lead to the most rewarding solutions.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Step right up, we're diving in. Marketing tales from where to when. Curious facts that make you grin. Welcome, friends, let's begin. From lost campaigns to clever schemes, broken dreams and wild extremes, the lessons learned through all extremes. Truth is stranger than it seems. Oh, it's the deep dive you gotta hear. Marketing tales from far and near, the lessons wrapped in laughter clear. Oh yeah, we're taking the rear. Marketing myths and legends bold, stories better than gold. Every tale is retold in ways you've never been told. From the quirky ads gone haywire to campaigns that catch fire, every story to admire. Tune in and let's aspire. Oh, it's the deep dive you gotta hear. Marketing tales from far and near, lessons wrapped in laughter clear. Oh yeah, we're taking the rear. From lost campaigns to clever schemes, broken dreams and wild extremes, the lessons learned through all extremes. Truth is stranger than it seems. Oh, it's the deep dive you gotta hear. Marketing tales from far and near, lessons wrapped in laughter clear. Oh yeah, we're taking the rear. Oh yeah, we're taking the rear. Oh, it's the deep dive you gotta hear. Marketing tales from far and near, lessons wrapped in laughter clear. Oh yeah, we're taking the rear. Oh yeah, we're taking the rear.